Hi everyone, and welcome to my channel Moxie DIY in Java. I'm Michelle. Today's video is part of the 5 Under 5 DIY challenge, which means everything that I make today is either $5 or under. So grab your cup of coffee or your favorite beverage and join me. This bakery sign I made many years ago, and I wanted to update it for Halloween. So I found this apothecary shop sign off of jane.com, and it was only $3. So what I'm going to do is I cut down this black foam board, and we are going to make this look spooky and old, and we're going to do it all for under $5. So my thought process with this foam board was to make it look like it had been painted and repainted. Most of it's going to be covered with the sign, so I'm trying to focus a little more on the outsides, but I do want it to look like a continuous line. Now here I am making this look like boards. So I'm using my bone folder with my straight edge, and I am indenting the foam board, and I will go over those indents with some lighter paint. These are paper brads that you can find in an office supply store, and I'm going to attach those to the corners. But first I'm going to go over them with a metallic copper marker. Here I am trimming off the part that goes through the paper. We are not going to need it, and then I'm going to press down the sharpened parts that I just trimmed so that way it doesn't hurt me or the paper. So as you can see, I'm just going to be hot gluing them to each corner. As I said in the intro, this video is part of the 5 Under $5 DIY challenge, and it is hosted by Missy from the Crafty Cove DIY and Emily from Farm Charm Chic, and I was lucky enough to be the guest host for this month, so I feel very honored to be a part of this, not only as a DIYer but also as a co-host. So be sure to check out the playlist down below. I will post it in my description box, as well as the channel links to both Missy and Emily's pages. This paper I will be using is wallpaper that I found at Dollar Tree, and I liked it because it looked like wood planks. So as you can see, I was just using my X-Acto to trim this evenly, and this is just a card I also found at the Dollar Tree. I love this little skeleton. I thought he was so cute. The galvanized letters that I'm showing here are also from the Dollar Tree, and I am also using this wooden boo sign, and our plaque is going to say, "Oh, hey boo." I love this saying because I actually say it quite often to our dog. She is actually a Halloween dog. She was born on Halloween, and so the nickname just kind of stuck. So whenever I see her, I usually call her Boo. As you can see, I pre-painted these pumpkin topiaries from the Dollar Tree, a solid white. And what I'm showing you here is that each of the pumpkins has 7 sections on it, and we need 8. So what I'm going to do is create my own sections by splitting the difference between 2 of them. That way we can have even sections, so our colors can be staggered evenly. If I don't mess up my pattern, I'm just going to do black dots in the segments that are going to be painted black. I am doing the classic black and white MacKenzie-Childs style on these pumpkins. I saw them in a catalog I received recently and I fell in love with them, but didn't really fall in love with the price, especially when I knew that I could make them myself for much cheaper. Now in the original pumpkins, they were using a capiche shell for the white of the pumpkins, which has a really pretty pearlized look to it. So I am going to be combining the silver and white to create that pearlized white. And you can't really see it too well on camera, unfortunately, but it really did create a really nice effect. The colors I will be using throughout this project are going to be that pearlized white, white, black, and copper. Now, the original MacKenzie-Childs uses gold, but I don't decorate with gold, so I am using what works in my house, which is copper. Here I'm creating a chevron effect on the top pumpkin. Now in the final look you will notice that I don't exactly copy what the pumpkins looked like, but you will also see other pumpkins that are included in the collection, and I try to use my favorites from that collection. I will be using this metallic marker from the Dollar Tree for all of my copper color on these pumpkins, and it did a fantastic job. Not only was it super easy to use, but the coverage was really, really great. I seriously cannot speak any higher of these markers. They are fantastic. Now that all the fill work is done, I'm going to be doing the detail work. And again, I will be using this marker and a Sharpie as my detailers. To make these polka dots, I am pressing my smallish paintbrush down and then twisting it through my fingers. And that's how I'm creating these whimsical dots. What I'm doing here is creating a highlight effect with pure white over the pearlized white. And I am just going over the center of each of the white segments. I'm sorry to say that I lost my footage on how I created this bent witch's hat, but these are the hat picks that the Dollar Tree sells. They usually come in a package of 3, and I just removed all of the pipe cleaners from them. Now, to create the bent look, you're going to want to cut the tip of the hat at a 45-degree angle, twist it 180 degrees, and then glue it on. And that is how I created this bent look that is super whimsical and cute in my opinion. And here is the collection from MacKenzie-Childs catalog. As you can see, there are all sorts of different patterns. I tried to create the little arms that theirs have, but the wire that I was using just was not cooperating. And I think they look pretty cute without the wired hands and the words. I think they turned out pretty cute. What do you think? I was really excited when I found this posable skeleton at Walmart, and the price had me also. Now we're just going to use him and a flour sack. Originally, I was going to make the figure inside myself, and I will be sure to post that tutorial down below in my description box, but since I found this posable skeleton, he was perfect to make into a mummy. And as my youngest kiddo said, that's what mummies are anyway. As you saw, I made strips of the flour sack towel. Now I am going to conserve the hem of the towel because it is slightly thicker, and I'm going to use that for the outermost part of the wrappings. So I'm going to use the thinner part of the towel to do the initial wrappings and then go over it with the thicker one. I hope that makes sense. Because this little dude is posable, I am not putting any of the wrapping on his elbows and knees, so that way I can position him a little easier. I felt like if there was a bunch of fabric there, it would be harder to maneuver him the way I want him. If you are liking what you're seeing, I hope that you'll consider subscribing to my channel. My OGs are pretty awesome and really friendly, so be sure to make yourself known in the comments if you're new. Now the wrapping on his head, I am just using the thinner material. I chose to hand knit my pumpkin pillow, and I used my large loom to do that. And I'm showing how you knit with the loom. You take your loose yarn, wrap it around the top of the peg, and then move the yarn on the bottom up and over that top yarn. And you do that all the way around. As you can see, I skipped a peg. This yarn is really thick. I got it at Walmart. It was $4. Now, when I looked it up online, it was showing at $6.44. So I'm not sure why the price was different in store versus online, but it's definitely worth checking out your prices in store. It's called the Thick Sparkle Chenille yarn, and it is so soft. So I'm showing you with the maroon pillow. Now this particular one actually took 2 skeins of yarn. So this particular one is not under $5, but I'm going to show you the black one, which I think would have been harder for you to see what I was doing, which is why I'm showing you the maroon one. But the black one is just 1 skein of yarn, and it turns out to be a really substantial size. Here I am showing you how I cast off or remove the yarn from the loom. You're going to take your loose end and wrap it loosely around the top of the peg, and you're going to take that bottom yarn on the peg and loop it up and around, just like we've been doing the entire time. But this time, instead of keeping that top yarn on, we're going to pull it through that loop of the bottom yarn. I hope that makes sense, or at least is making sense as you're watching it. If you don't want to knit it yourself, that's okay. Dollar Tree sells ponytail beanies, in which case you would follow the same steps as follows. Now I followed all the same steps with my black skein of yarn as I did with the maroon, and the black one is done. As I'm showing you, it's a full cowl. It's open on both ends. So what we're going to do is first create a bowl, and we're going to do that by closing one end of the cowl or beanie. I don't recommend pulling this yarn. It fell apart and snapped on me multiple times. So what I'm going to show you here is me pulling the yarn and knotting it, which with sturdier yarn, yes, do that. But this one, it snapped on me a lot. What I recommend doing is using the twine method, which I will show you after I have filled it. Now this is just polyfill from an old pillow. Didn't cost me anything, I already had it. And I am just using that to fill it and get it as poofy as possible. Now here's the twine method. I am basically doing a running stitch of twine through the top parts of this knit, and then I'm using that to pull it shut. And I felt like this was a more secure method than using the yarn. Once I get the twine as tight as I can, there's still an opening. So I'm going to take the loose ends and loop them through opposite sections of the top knit and keep weaving and pulling and knotting until it is shut to my liking. Now that it's shut, I'm just going to tuck this little tail in the middle, and we have our pumpkin form. For the stem, we're going to use this boy's dress sock in brown, and all I'm going to do is roll it into basically a cigar, and then I'm going to stitch it closed with some brown thread. As I stitch it closed, I am also twisting it, so that way it kind of has that gnarled, twisty look that pumpkin stems have. Now using a second sock, we're going to create the base of the stem. To create the indented look, we're going to once again use the brown thread, and we're going to stick the needle in the very top middle of that sock, and we're going to pull it all the way through the bottom and then bring it back up through the top. And as you pull it, it will create that indent. Then here I am sewing that piece of sock to the top of the pumpkin. Now to attach the stem, I'm going to put one end in the indent that we just created, and then I'm just going to sew it to that sock piece as well as the top of the pumpkin pillow. And here it is. I think it looks so cute, and I love how the knit creates the ribs of the pumpkin. And again, that was made with 1 skein of yarn, and this maroon one was made with 2 skeins. I hope that you have enjoyed this 5 under $5 Halloween challenge, and until I see you in the next video, take care.